Hey everyone, it's Sasha Evdokov. It's February 12th, 2015, and welcome to the Rapid Recap. Now, in the Rapid Recap, if you're brand new, we usually talk about some stocks, some trading ideas or insights, things that maybe makes you think to implement into your system, into your trading style, and just to improve your game. Those of you that have been with me for a while, then, well, you know what the drill is. So in either case, I really hope you're having a great week. The market's kind of moving a little bit sideways. The action is, it's not as fantastic as I would like it to be. The signals are a little bit misguided, and some people that I talk to are really struggling in the market. And I just want you to understand and be aware that sometimes there are moments where you should be sitting out and you should be just being patient. But usually there's always a little acorn out there, meaning there's always a stock or two or a handful of them that you can nibble on or get into the position, and it'll still run even if the market in general is moving sideways. So with this in mind, I got a handful of great emails over the last couple of weeks. I mean, I get them all the time from people that purchase my products, my courses, or people that I just connect with, people that just watch the Rapid Recaps and that are listening and learning and getting a lot of insight. They are improving their game. So if you're new, I hope this happens to you. But I'll give you a couple examples. And normally I don't do this because I don't care to talk about myself as much, but it's really about you and getting your game better. So if this motivates you, if this moves you a little bit, then I hope it does. Basically, I had a few different emails, and I'll share these quick little emails and insights with you just to maybe motivate you to say that, hey, there's other people that have been probably where you are about a year ago and are improving their game. Or maybe some people that are just starting out that are using some of the thoughts and ideas that I share to just get better. And, it doesn't have to be from a course or product. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying from the tips and techniques that I share. So let me pull up an email here and show you a few insights from people that I've interacted and what they say. So here's an example from the previous week, and I'll call him Mr. Max to keep their privacy private. Basically, they asked me for a trade suggestion or idea that they were in the trade and what I would do about it. So here was kind of my suggestion. I wrote some suggestions for one of the stocks, and the stock was OPK. Now, over time, that stock has done something like this, and you can take a look at this chart. And, just a handful of days ago, they emailed me back and they said, hey, thanks to your suggestions, which I followed to the T, I am up huge on OPK and is still going strong with volume increasing on a daily basis. But I'm still unclear on my exit strategies. Can you help me with that when you get a chance? Thanks for all your help. That's just one example of someone that's already turning things around for them. I'll give you one more example. So here's another example, and I'll call him the doctor. And he just wrote to me just a day or so ago, and he was just writing saying, hey, was just tracing back to see when I started my trading education. Can't believe how far I've come in less than a year. Couldn't have done it without you or your courses. I've been averaging 10% a month on my portfolio. Almost doesn't seem real. Now, the reason I'm sharing this for you is not to get into my own personal business. It's just to show you that these people are successful and these people are improving their game, and that you can also improve and get better if you surround yourself by high quality people around you. If you attract and magnetize this positive energy and positive spirit. But if you're always just pulling in the negativity and associating with people that just don't improve your life, then, you're not going to get anywhere. And me personally, I struggled heavily, especially at the beginning. I saw the hardships that, money can do for you. And if you don't have a lot of it, we were living in poverty. In fact, I was born in Siberia in the middle of nowhere, pretty much a farmhouse, and we didn't have plumbing. So, when we wanted to take a bath in a way or a shower, it was technically going into a sauna and using the neighbor's sauna once a week or once every 3 weeks if they would let us. And if not, you just use the hose because the water well was, a couple kilometers down the road and you had to go get your water. So I saw those things. And in fact, when I went back multiple times, you still see that. So the thing is after we moved to the U.S. with my mom, I saw the hardships, the struggles. She had to clean houses for a while. And by the time I was 10, we got our first computer. I started doing some things, and I was playing video games at first because, I was still a kid. But I started getting into a little bit of design work, little things, and started making little logos and drawings and things like that for people on eBay. And over time, the business grew. 4 or 5 years later, things improved. My mom was a hard worker, and, my business started to grow, and I started to build a little nest egg. And then started looking into investing, but at the same time working on my business, creating logos, websites for people. And then I started doing photography and sold one of my blogs and made $100,000 later on after that. So it was a fantastic ride up to that point. And, up until then, things weren't easy. Getting over that hurdle was tough. But once you build the momentum, the rest is it's simple, but those initial struggles are always going to be tough. And at the beginning, even though when we had a little bit of cash, started to get things going, we're struggling. You're wondering, okay, do I enter the trade here? Do I do this with my business? Blah, blah, blah. So you're trying to figure these things out, and that's the hard part. Once things are in motion, like right now, I have multiple businesses. I still do trading, investing, so I have things that are cooking. They're cooking, and when I put on a trade, that's what I let it do. It's cooking, and you just let things cook. But that beginning part is the tough part, and you got to know that this journey is not easy, and you got to be determined to really work at it. Okay, so I hope that gives you a little insight that it takes a lot of work, and I wanted to share with you just some other people that were trading or getting into trading that they are able to do those things. Now, you're not going to hit every trade, but you're able to just continue to get better, continue to improve. And after a while, you can do the things that you love, whether it's going fishing, playing tennis, cooking. Those are the things that I like. I like to go fishing. I like to play tennis. I like going to yoga. My girlfriend doesn't like going to the yoga. I like the hot yoga. I like to read. I like to study, as weird as that sounds. I like the educational information, and I love books. I get so much knowledge out of it, and I love connecting with people and just contributing to give back. But it's tough to have that flexibility until you get the other things in alignment. And, it takes time and discipline. And so if some of these emails for you were a little motivational, just use it as a little bit of energy to fuel yourself to just keep going and continue to get better. Just keep putting a little bit of effort every single time, and eventually it grows to a lot more effort. So just continue to get better with every step, and I hope that you do. All right. So let's take a look at some actual stock charts, and I'm doing this a little before the market closes, so we'll see when I can get it out. But basically, the S&P, if you watch it, you look at it, here's our resistance line. If you take a look at the spiders, there's our resistance line. And it's moving up, and it's moving up on weaker volume. It's moving up, but it doesn't have the sustainability, in my opinion. And even though things are moving up, if we take a look at the Dow and I start looking at it and I say, hey, okay, it's moving up. But then the question is do I have the reward in the direction that the market is going in? So I ask myself, where do I have more reward? Do I have more reward to the upside? Do I think the market can go another 1,000, 2,000 points? Or do I think there's more reward, more possibility to be made going to the downside? And in my opinion, since it's coming up to the highs, I believe there's more reward to make to the downside rather than more reward to the upside. So that's what I like to look at. I don't really worry about the direction specifically. I look at where's my risk and where is my reward. And if I get those two things in order, then I know what trade is going to be more favorable to me. And I'm looking at what's going to be more favorable. I don't care for 1 or 2 day gains. I'm looking to trade in a more calm manner. I'm looking to trade for a longer term play so I can avoid the hype, so I can avoid what everybody else is saying. I'm looking at my own personal items. I'm looking at my own personal reward and risk strategies. I'm looking for what's in the best interest for my account. So in this situation, even though you can look at the composites as well, the composites usually lead the markets. Now the composites, we did break out today, and that's one of the key things that's kind of triggering me to say, okay, we do have potential to go long. However, the other indices and the other things are not in full alignment yet. If these align with the composite, then I can say, okay, things have changed. And if there's also buyers coming in, then I can say, yes, this market could be different. So looking then at also individual specific stocks, you want to take these things into account. So after I look at the overall market picture, then I'll take a look at what's moving with the market or what's moving against the market. So for example, like a BIDU here, it's moving against the market. But then if I look at NSP, for example, this stock is moving with the market and even accelerating further. So you start looking at which stocks are moving with the market and which stocks are moving against the market. So let's break down a few of these stocks. So while we're here, let's take a look at NSP here. We have the weekly chart, and here's our $40 level. You can see it's moving higher, moving pretty well. Then the next one we have is YELP. YELP on the weekly here, you can see we've actually created a little head and shoulders pattern. So here's our little head and there's our two shoulders, and the stock then came down, broke that, and it's coming back up to test this gap. If it rejects it, you could see lower prices. Okay, so there's the weekly chart, there's the daily chart. Lock, I know a few members have been trading this since we had this A to B, B to C pattern forming, and it broke right there, and it's still moving lower, still starting to create an A, B, C, D pattern here, and it just continues to move lower. But it's a slower moving stock, so you have to be more patient with these kinds of stocks. They move slow. SEE, here's our resistance line. Stock popped, continues moving, had 1 day doji, so today it's continued to move. $46 at the moment. We'll see how the end of the day closes. Hasbro also moving well after breaking this resistance line, so it did a little pop and continues to move. I'd like to see more gas and fuel come into this stock, but it's holding up pretty well. AXP, here it is. Talked about this support line here, came back, retested it, and sold off. So there was that resistance and support line because it bounced once off of it. Then when it broke, tried to come back to test it, sold off, and now it came back up right there. So you basically have ABCD patterns all throughout that move as well, and heavy down volume on it today. Ralph Lauren, same thing. Here's the weekly. Take a look. Long weekly pattern. for last couple weeks, moving lower. So here it is, still just moving lower. Of course, it can pop and retest that and then sell back off. That's another option. HA, Hawaiian Holdings, it's pushing lower on this support line. If it breaks it, you could see further lower prices. DF, Dean Foods. So here's our gap right here that we have in Dean Foods. Support line, we have a gap up here as well. And if this stock breaks into this gap, you could see again, you could see it fill the gap and at least get into this 1450 area and close that off. SPR has been moving really well since breaking this resistance line. So for a nice 13-point gain and in just a handful of days. So 9 days that did 13 points. So good move on that stock if you caught it. Then we also have Twitter. Twitter had some good reports coming out, earnings and so forth, and typically I avoid these plays until they can kind of get in and break those levels because it takes some consolidation period. It's kind of like a flag pattern, as they call it. So there's your kind of flag, and if it continues to move, then by all means, great, a good opportunity to go long. Otherwise, what you want to do is watch out for this gap. If it fills that gap, definitely you want to get out because then it could come back. So always be cautious of those gaps. Facebook, you see Facebook popping here the last couple days on lighter volume. I don't see the buyers. It's a little bit more than usual, but it's nowhere near the average volume. So to me, it's still acting weak. I would rather seen this pop on heavier volume, like around 47, 43 million shares, but I didn't do that. So to me, it's just distribution consolidation. It's just playing around in that area or in this area, really. I don't really care for Facebook much. I don't really use it, and I don't really know why the revenues really are there. All the advertising, from what a lot of videos I've seen, they seem to say they're not really working. So in either case, we'll see how that pans out. Tico Energy, talked about this one. Here was the support line, broke into it, filled it, continues to break lower now. So now it has that potential to continue getting to this 1889 level. So just watch that one closely. VNTV right here popping. After, if you look at the weekly, there it is. There was the setup, boom, pop, heavy volume. That's what you want to see. Continues to run. And Tesla, here we go, continues lower. Now it's trying to fill this gap right now. But one thing I always like to say is remember the phrase of what happens to the left typically happens on the right. And what that means is what's going on here typically repeats. So we went down, popped, but we didn't get back all the way up. So we only popped halfway. So then what happened? We sold off further. Then we popped again, but we didn't get back up to the old highs. Okay, so what happened on the left? What do you think is going to happen on the right? Same thing. There's the pop, sell off. So what do you think is going to continue happening? Typically, you know, you might be wondering, so how long does this apply, or how many times can it do this? Do it until it proves otherwise. Until it says, I'm done doing this over and over again, it's going to continue doing this. So you don't know. It could keep doing this 5, 7, 10, 20 times. Who knows? You know, and if it changes, if things develop otherwise, then it'll, you know, power back higher. But if things don't change, then it'll just continue doing this trend. So always look to the left, what's going on to the left, and that's typically what'll happen to the right. Okay, just a little tip for you guys. Apple, take a look at this resistance line. It was pushing against it, pushing, finally broke through. And now you have 3 days of solid gains, $5 run, so holding up well. And then you got Yum. Here's our little triangle pattern, consolidation pattern. So it's filling that gap. So you can see if it'll pop higher or if it'll break this trend line right here, it could sell off much lower. So watch that pattern, and then you can make your decision after that pattern has evolved. All right, so there you go. Those are the stocks for this week, and that's kind of what's going on and what's happening. So hope you're trading well. Hope you got some insight from the beginning of the video and got a lot out of it. Thanks again for joining me. Enjoy your longer weekend, holiday weekend, if you're, you get the Monday off. And, I'll see you next week. Thanks again.